Welcome everyone, my name is Narcomus and today we are going to learn how to set up a Minecraft Java Edition server on a Linux server. Now some of the assumptions for this are as follows. We're using an Ubuntu 20.04 server with root access, a working internet connection, the ability to do port falls on your router if you're hosting the server online, and that the initial game server manager dependencies are installed. The port that by default is used is 25565 on the UDP side of things. That's 25,565. Now, an important thing to note is that all of this is done using a pre-built system called Linux Game Server Managers. 95% of the information is straight from their website, and I'll put a link in the description below. All that I'm showing you is the basic process of the installation and some of the tricks on the initial setup. We of course want to swap now to there we go. So the initial server needs to be updated, for the Ubuntu updates or Red Hat, whichever server you're going to be using, okay? We also assume that you've installed, as I said, the Linux Game Server Manager dependencies, and also that you've created the new user to run Minecraft as, being in this case MC Server. So the first thing we're going to do is pretend to be MC Server, like so. And then what we shall do is we shall grab the initial commands that we need and start off that. Let's take a couple of seconds. Okay, now what we do is we do the initial install of the software. Now what it'll do is it'll go away, grab what we need, and then start the installation process. The important thing to remember as it goes through the process is to agree to the end user license agreement. Otherwise, it won't actually proceed. So let's wait for that to go through. So it'll take a couple more seconds and we should be then grabbing some more information. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause this here for a second while it goes through the whole process, and I'll bring us back once it's at the point of doing the end user license agreement. And here you can see where it's asking you, do you agree to all the usual Minecraft end user license agreement stuff, which is all, you have to do this, doesn't matter when you run a server, whether you're running on Windows, Linux, Mac, anything. You have to agree to this, otherwise the server doesn't actually run. So I'll come back in just a moment once that's finished installing. Okay, now that that's done, what we're going to do is edit the initial files for the configuration. So under server files, under server.properties, use your favorite editor. For myself, it's Nano. And in here, you can start changing all the usual settings as you would any other Minecraft server. Things like the level seed, name of the world, whether you're allowing flight, that sort of thing, which I wouldn't normally say to do. Your seed, if you've got a particular seed you want to use, message of the day, all that sort of thing is in here as well. So Archon passwords, which is all used for various levels of things. A couple of the major things to remember in here are things like max players, build height, that sort of thing, online mode, which you should normally leave it as true, the message of the day, which also allows you to do things like, let's learn with Archimus. So when you refresh the server, when you've added it to your list, you'll be able to see that, and it'll be the little message of the day that you can have on that. So let's save that. And then what we'll do from here is, just to start with, we're going to do a server start. The other thing that you can do in that file is, of course, enable whitelisting, things like that, all that sort of stuff. So as you would normally edit any other Minecraft server config file. There's plenty of information on that, on how to get that from the official Minecraft wikis and things like that. All right, so we've just started the server. Let's say we want to see what the actual server console is doing. Use that MC server console. Thing to remember with this is, don't use Control C when you're in there, use Control B and then Control D. If you use Control C, what will happen is it'll actually cause the server to crash. So as you can see here, because it's the first time, is now doing an initial server creation with the world and all that sort of thing, doing the initial spawn areas, all that sort of thing. So let's let that finish off in the background. Okay, the other one you can run is the MC server details. What that'll do is that'll grab all the basic information you need about that server, being whether it's running, what ports are used, config file locations, executable locations, all that sort of thing. Very handy to know when you're actually doing all this sort of thing. That should pop up any moment. And there we go. Now, the other thing you can see there is, the Java settings, things like that, what's already been set as settings. To adjust all that, we'll need to actually edit another file. And to edit all that sort of thing, as well as set up things like alerts to come through to Discord or email, that sort of thing, we use our editor again. We go to the config, LGSM, config LGSM, MC server, MC server. Now in here for the Discord, which we've gone over before, we've basically use Discord alert equals on, and then Discord webhook equals, and you put that big long one there, discord.com/API webhooks, blah, blah, blah. Now the other thing to have in here is a very important one, which controls how much memory is assigned to the Minecraft server, or the maximum amount that it can use. And for that, we use the command java ram equals and then the amount. Now, I think for memory it's like so, but we'll confirm that in just a moment. I'll just check on that right now. And I've just got that slightly wrong. It was just the 4096, so that'll assign 4 gig of RAM to that server. So we'll save that. And then what we can do is use the server should be started now. So if we want to, let's say, restart it now for all the changes we've just done, we go MC server, restart. What they'll do is we'll go away, it'll stop the server, and then start it again straight away for us. So it's giving it a slow stop. May take a couple of seconds depending on the size of the server and how much data it's got to do for the save. This can take anywhere from a couple of seconds depending on your system, all up to, let's say, 30 seconds or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for that to finish off, and I'll come back to you in just a second. And there we go, that took about 30 seconds in total to finish up. So if we were to actually go in and do those details again, details, and this time when it pops up, it'll show us the changes that we did earlier, including how much more RAM we're now using. So now, as you can see, we've got just here, we've got this max RAM of 4 gig. So I'm just going it's running at the moment. So if you want to see what's going on with the system, you can do a HTOP, which is more of a Ubuntu thing, but I believe runs on other ones. And you can see here that in my particular system, it's running pretty heavy at the moment because it's just started and it's doing all the initial loading of the level and things like that. So you can see that's working pretty hard there at the moment. And this is a good way of keeping an eye on your server and just seeing whether or not you need to assign, more RAM to it, or maybe if you're running a virtual server, more cores to it, things like that. So let's quit that. And then what we'll do is we'll just check on the actual status of the server. And there you go. That's just finished doing all the spawning then anyway. So if we go Control BD, we'll check that HTOP again. And now you can see it's running a lot more smoothly. Okay. So the last couple of things that we do is I want to set up a couple of maintenance type tasks. So if we go cron tab -e, use your favorite editor again. And then what we want to do is grab 4 commands. 3 of these are straight from the Linux Game Server Manager's site. The last one is one that I've done to make my life easier. So the first one, monitor. What it does is that if it knows that the server is supposed to be started with the MC server start, it'll go and check and then restart the server if it's crashed. What it'll also do is if you've got things like Discord alerts enabled or email alerts enabled, it will then email or put an error, like a notification in Discord to let you know that something's happened. Now, the second one is set to run every 30 minutes, but normally I would set this to run every only once a day, because you only need it to run once a day, is the update. The update will check to see if there's any updates to Minecraft, and it will actually automatically go in, stop the server, install the update, and then continue on. Now, important to note, if you are running a mod pack on this system, don't use this command. What it will do is actually delete your mod pack or the base server files and then override it with what it thinks should be correct. So if you're running a mod pack, remove that line. Just do it all manually. The third command, what it does is once a week, it'll go and check to see if there's any updates to the Linux Game Server Manager files. And finally, the last one is at reboot or at server start, it'll wait 30 seconds and it'll start the Minecraft server for you. And that's pretty much about it. So what we'll do is we're going to change over to the game and we'll actually see if it's running. So let's do a refresh. Should give it a few seconds. And then we can connect to it. And then once it's connected, everything will be good. All right, so it's just waiting, joining, and welcome to the world. And here we are, running nice and smooth. Okay. All right, so thanks for watching the tutorial, everyone. If you found it handy, please hit that magic like button and subscribe for more content. I will be releasing more server videos in the next coming week or couple of weeks, along with some in-game tutorials on things like Minecraft, to Valheim, to Escape from Tarkov. Thanks again and have fun playing.